Hello and welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica, and this show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things. Have you been watching long enough to know what I was going to say? I don't know why I did that, but I'm interested if you do. Comment below. All right, welcome. There's a little suspense trickster for you. I've been sick, so probably delirious. Anyways, it's Thursday, February 23rd. Welcome to the channel. Today, I've got a very interesting topic. Hopefully you saw the title, Pay Me or Die. I think it's something I want to discuss. We had a question in the Facebook group, and the question was, how do I get clients to pay me what I'm worth, right? And I want to talk about this topic with you. I think it's a very important topic, and we're going to dive into that today. And I'm going to give you what I really believe is the key to this whole pricing thing. Okay, I'm going to give you my skinny on it. Real quick, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and also check out the link to A VO's Journey Elite Academy down below. We're offering 50% off the first month. We'd love to have you come join our community to grow and start and grow your voiceover business with courses and classes and coaching and direct line to me and the other coaches. So it's a lot of great information. So let's dive into this topic of pay me or die. First off, I made that title because I often feel that way. And I think a lot of us feel that way, right? Like, you're going to pay me what it says on that, on my screen or what I put out there, or, go jump off a cliff. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. Right. And it invokes these feelings of anger and frustration, these feelings of personal attacks on our ego, and ego not being a bad thing, but ego being meaning like our very meaning of existence thing here, right? Like if we're, it's almost like we're not valued as human beings, and these people are treating us like, automatons or just junk. So of course it brings this visceral feeling out in us. And I want to discuss with you, I think, a way that you can approach this and also hopefully make yourself feel better in the meantime. Because I don't know about you, but there was a lot of times, especially when I first started, where I would get work and I was so excited to get work, but darn it, if it was not pay, they didn't want to pay what I was asking them to pay exactly. They wanted to pay less, sometimes a lot less. And I had to make that decision, do I keep the work because I want the work because I don't have any, or do I stand on, my box and shoot them down and, that kind, and not do the work, that kind of stuff, and it was just very, it was hard, and I spent a lot of time thinking about it, being, the pain of it, just frustration was there all the time. So what I recommend and what I have started to do, let me start with the first realization. This is important. I realized first and foremost that nothing we do is written in stone. Okay, so what I mean by that is when you set out to do pricing, it's not written in stone, meaning that, and I don't mean like negotiating or not negotiating, although that's a part of it, but I do mean like it's not going to have to stay that way forever. You can change your pricing at any time. I really look at my pricing as being fluid. Right? And I don't mean fluid as being not reliable, but I mean fluid as meaning like, if I am growing and I'm super busy and I'm swamped, well, economics 101, supply and demand, right? If there is a greater demand than the supply that's available, your prices reflect that by going up. Right. And I feel the same thing with us, and right. And the supply is our time. Right? There's only so much time that we have. So I realized that just what I was charging today does not necessarily mean I had to charge that tomorrow. Right. And also that a lot of what I was doing, even though I didn't realize it at the time, but working with so many voice actors and doing so many things now to help, VOs, is that, there is a means to an end, right? There is a growth to this whole thing, right? There is a way to get started, and then as we grow and we get better equipment and we get better as performers and we get better with our DAWs and, we get better spaces and, we work with more clients, right? We get more reviews. These things, right, they add up, right, and makes us, our business, more valuable, all right, which in turn makes our time more valuable, makes our service more valuable. Okay, so that was the big first thing I learned. That pricing can be fluid, right? The second thing I learned, and I've kind of set these as rules to my business, is that I thought when I first started, and I'm sure many of you, if you're just starting and you're just getting that first, second, third client, you feel that this is it. This is your opportunity. You know what I mean? And you got to hold on to those people with all of your might, and don't lose them. If you lose them, you're just not going to ever get another one. This is, don't screw it up. I was there. I remember the first client I ever, which was so funny because I was working with someone just a few moments ago, and they mentioned a similar situation happening to them. But I just remembered because of that talk, when I first started, I had gotten a message on Fiverr from somebody who wanted to work with me, and they offered, a job, and it took me 15 minutes because I was doing something at the time to get back to them. 15 minutes. I mean, you talk about no time at all, 15 minutes. And when I got back to them, they got back to me and said, sorry, we found someone else. And 15 minutes. And, and the person I was talking to before, they had a similar situation with that amount of time, just a short amount of time. And I think if I could go back and tell myself something, right, about my pricing, about what pricing did to me in time, right, I would tell myself, because I was so angry. I thought I'd screwed everything up. That there's so many fish in the sea. Even though I know it doesn't seem like that when you start, because when you start, you're like, how do I just get one job? But I promise you, there's so much work out there. There is. Don't beat yourself up about people who, dangle something in front of you and you can't get it, right? Like, just let it go. There's plenty more out there. And it is okay to stand on what you're doing. So that was the second thing, right? Is you got to give yourself a break. I promise you there's a lot of people out there, and there are people who are going to pay you what you're charging. All right? So that's the second thing. The third thing, I think, is it's really important to separate your business, from what you feel is self-worth. This is hard. This is hard because most of us, I think many of us, including myself, we attach a lot of our self-worth to what we create, like what we're doing, because we're putting a lot of that time, we're putting our time, our efforts, our thoughts, our feelings into it. So it becomes a part of us. And because it becomes a part of us, we look at everything that we do as personal. It's all personal. But I think a lot of times it is good to take a step back and look at how does the other side, meaning like a client, look at what we're doing, right? And I think, like, for a perfect example, if you you are a client of something, and you go to a store, a mom and pop store, we'll say, right? Because I think it's easier to bigger places like, going to Walmart or something, right? And we're like, well, it's Walmart, there's some people we'll never see, and the people working at Walmart, they're not the owners. Okay. So it's not, it's not about them. Okay. But I'm saying, like, maybe a mom and pop store, and we go in there, even in a place where you could be working with the owner. I know for me, I mean, I'm going to be polite, of course, but I'm not going to, think that what they're creating there is who they are as an individual. Like what they, what kind of person they are. To some extent, there can be some variations there. I guess what I'm getting at is that I believe that our businesses, that we're creating something that has a life of its own. All right. And it has a value of its own. I always have thought that our value as people is incalculable. I mean, you can never charge. I don't think you can charge someone enough money. I don't think there's enough money in the world to put a value on some people. And I know maybe some people don't agree with that, but I don't think you can put a value on people. All right. I mean, money is paper. All right. There's always more money. There's only one of you. Okay. But our businesses, the entities that we create, they can have a value. The file, the MP3 file, that WAV file you create, that does have a perceived value. All right. The value then can be dictated by a lot of those things I talked about, which is, the setup that you're using, the clients that you worked on, the prestige that your business that you've created is bringing because of what you have done in the past, right? Which then also, remember, gives credence to the idea, where do you start? You got to start somewhere, right? But I guess where I'm going with this is that, separate those two, that your business is not your personal worth should not be attached to the business, because your personal worth is worth more than anything in the world. So by doing that, by detaching your personal worth, you can start to look at your business from an objective standpoint, right? And say, what am I doing here? What is the goals of this entity? And I always try to say, a lot of the reason why we also look at it as personal worth is because we're the actors right now. It's you acting. So you're not only the CEO, the manager, right? But you're also the performer and the director and the producer and the editor. You're all the engineer. You're all of those right now. But if you stop and think about it, you could. I mean, just if you did something different, you could represent other people where you weren't the performers. Right. But you were building a business where you got, you produced voiceover work for other clients, and you were the one who managed people to bring that voiceover work. Right. So now all of a sudden you're not the talent. Right. So so if you looked at it that way, I always interested in seeing, like, how would you value, would your self-worth be based on someone else's performances, even though it's going through your business? Or are those files, those performances, just a part of a business that's being created at that time? I just think these are interesting questions, and they're good topics to discuss. And I do think that there's a extreme value to the performances that we offer. What that value is at that point in time is up for you and I to decide. But I just always recommend separating your personal worth from your business, right? And if you can do that, I promise you, you will not feel so weighted down by the choices that you have to make with pricing and whether or not you are good enough as a person or people value you. if I go to buy something somewhere, I'm not thinking. I mean, think about it. If you go buy something somewhere at a store or anywhere online, I never think about the value of the person who created it. Do you, I mean, think about it. Do you? I mean, like because I know that's their value. Their value is worth is again not calculable, right? You can't calculate someone's worth because they're worth more than anything out there. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you separate that, that's going to help you so much with everything, and then allow you to look at your business in stages of growth. And to say, my pricing right now reflects where my business is and the perception of my business, and the knowledge of my existence in this business. I mean, maybe no one knows me right now, so how am I going to get a start? You know what I mean? Eliminating tools. Here's something else to think about. Eliminating tools to grow your business because of a philosophy that I may or may not be true, that's a massive crutch, right, that you have to deal with, right? And meaning what I'm talking about, right, is that self-worth. And we hear it all the time, pay me what I'm worth. I'm not being paid what I'm worth. I mean, does anyone ever pay you what you're worth? To me, that argument breaks down. I understand why people say it, and I've laid that out here. And I don't disagree with their feelings. I'm just trying to give a different way of thinking about your business to hopefully set you free and grow beyond the constraints of that crutch, right? So anyways, I know this has been a long video. I hope it's been helpful to get you thinking about, this idea of pay me or die, and grow objectively, excuse me. But using this idea of growth in your business, all right, growth over time, the perception of value of a business that, yes, you've created, but that business will help you get rid of a lot of pain and suffering, and also hopefully grow faster. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please, again, if you liked this video, hit that like and subscribe button, and leave some comments below, because, this is always a challenging topic. And I respect everyone's opinions on it. And in the end, it's your business. All right. It's your business. No one else's. And you get to make your decisions for your business. I've always believed that and always supported it. Whether it's gone against my thoughts or not. So thank you guys as well. Check out that link again for Vio's Journey Elite Academy. Love you all so much. Have a good Thursday. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.